Sono lieto di poter rievocare in poche parole le esperienze delle prime trasmissioni radiotelegrafiche a grandi distanze da me felicemente eseguite attraverso l'Oceano Atlantico il 12 dicembre 1901.
Holy snapping bra straps. It's a
journey into space.
Republic of Avalon Radio. It's 0 hours, Avalon Standard Time.
Hi folks, my name is Barb and I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and I'm here in St. John's, Newfoundland, and you're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio.
Hi, this is Indra. I'm from Barbados, Christchurch, and I'm listening to Republic of Avalon Radio.
This is David in Lubbock, Texas. I just recently found the Roar and am enjoying it thoroughly. Have a good day, and I hope to hear more from you soon.
Republic of Avalon Radio.
The best radio in the whole wide world.
You're with the Roar.
Here now is Jimmy Fidler.
Yes, indeed. Republic of Avalon Radio. You are with the Roar, and I am Jimmy Fidler, or Jim, as most people call me. Oddly enough, my given name was James, but that's another story for another day. Oddly enough, I don't know if any of you have experienced this before, but growing up, for some reason, people would insert a false P into my name and pronounce it James. I don't know where that comes from, but it's just one of those things that tends to occur for whatever reason. People adding letters where they aren't supposed to be, and people taking them out where they need be, and all these sorts of things. But in any case, hope everyone's doing well. I think we have one listener now. Just kidding. We know there's more people listening. In fact, we got a call from Dave that you just heard, and good to hear from you, Dave, and as well from Trucker Bob, who's probably our most faithful listener at this point, at least on the radar. We have lurkers. Stop lurking. We want to hear from you. It's one thing to lurk out there, but we like to hear from you, and other listeners might like to hear from you as well, just to know that you're there. It's hard to overemphasize how important it is for us doing this, to hear some feedback and hear from you guys. Whether you're actually getting involved to the point of, possibly even submitting something, a little piece, a little who you are and where you're from, and whatever, or you don't necessarily have to go to a shuttle launch or anything like that, like Yves Seguin did for us. Could be just the simplest little old thing. Could be just a quick little call saying, hi, this is so-and-so from wherever, and hello to the Roar and fellow listeners and all these kinds of things. Or that you just enjoy listening to the Roar. Whatever. Doesn't have to be anything. Just for us trudging along and producing these shows. It's just really nice. If we don't hear from anybody at all, and so much time goes by, it gets feeling pretty lonely, folks. And one might even question the whole purpose or point of it all. But we do know that there's some people listening out there. I don't know what the percentages are. There's supposed to be some sort of a percentage when it comes to, say, if you launch some sort of campaign where you want to try to get X number of people to do whatever. It's supposed to be something as gloomy and dismal as something like 3%. So the numbers are really always hard to judge. In other words, what this means, quite simply, is that we have people listening that just never get in touch with us. They never send us a message on the Roar line, which you can do if you have Skype. You can just go to our website, republicofavalonradio.com, REPUBLIC, Republic of OF, Avalon, AVALON, radio, RADIO. That's all one word, no capitals, no nothing, just no spaces, just Republic of Avalon Radio, just like that, .com. Just go to that website, put your www at the beginning if you want, or leave it off if you want, doesn't matter. And on the website there's even right on the front page, there's all kinds of ways you can get in touch with us. You can send us an email, you can send us a voicemail. If you have Skype, then it doesn't cost you anything. Skype is free, for one thing. If you don't know about Skype, which some people actually don't, you know, not everybody's just totally in the geek zone. So if you didn't know that you could install a program on your computer for free and talk to other people, you know, your fiance in France, or your genealogist in Germany, or your estranged osteoporosis specialist in Austria. I'm grasping desperately for alliteration here, folks. You have to bear with me. Or some kin in Kentucky, or a few pals in Pennsylvania, or you can keep in touch with this whole Skype thing, and you can actually hear their voice. All you need is like a computer. If you have a computer already, then chances are, if you're listening to me right now, you probably do have a computer. That's how you got this show in the first place. And yes, with a microphone, speakers. Not too many computers these days don't have. I used to find that quite irritating. Computers without speakers and microphones. Back in the day, people had computers, and all they had was a box and a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse. And I found it quite frustrating that most people seem to not have any speakers attached to their computers, let alone microphones. But a lot have it built in these days, especially anybody with a laptop. Chances are, if you have a laptop, let me move my keyboard out of my way here. Chances are, if you have a laptop, it probably has a built-in microphone and speakers, and to boot, probably a camera, which is the next point about this whole Skype thing. Not only can you hear each other and talk as long as you like, at very good quality, better than a telephone, you won't have any of those long-distance charges, so it'll be free. So you can talk from Canada to Australia, or from France to Réunion, or wherever, and it costs you no money. And the program is free, so as long as you got the hardware, if you've got a computer with a microphone and speakers, then you're laughing. The other side of this, the other side of this is if you have a good enough connection, like, high-speed connection, which, again, more and more people seem to have these days. Back in the day when I had a hard time dealing with my frustration of all these people with no speakers or microphones connected to their computers, back in those days, a lot of people were on dial-up. Remember dial-up? Some of us? You just get out the psycho string section on that one, I'd say. You're not getting me back on dial-up anytime soon, folks. When I'm on dial-up, things are really going really poorly. Not to say things are always going grand. We have our ups and downs. Both Lillian and myself, neither one of us having any paychecks from anywhere. Neither one of us works for anybody but ourselves. We're self-employed, and as such, we don't have any sort of paycheck every Friday, and no kind of medical plans and dental plans and 4-week vacations and things like that. We have none of the above. So what we do in this whole venture called life is we try to learn from our mistakes and push forward. and get better and better at setting goals and attaining them. Which doesn't sound like such a bad thing, really, because when I think about if I had to just do something that I didn't want to do in some kind of mind-numbing fashion, in some sort of, just go day to day and, I don't know, do whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't think I'd be a very happy camper myself. Different people are wired differently. Some people, it's just about the money. As long as they can, have a few bucks so that they can have their big screen TV or something like that. Most people don't own anything anyway. Most people don't actually own their car. They're making payments on it. And they're paying way more for the car than what it's worth with all the interest and everything. Although, of course, a lot of zero interest and zero down and all that foolishness. But still, you get caught up and you just have this stack of debt, which is to say that many people, they don't own the car they drive in. If it's not paid off, you don't own it. Let's forget about how much interest you're paying on it. Your house, if you're renting an apartment or a house, then of course you don't own it. And if you're paying a mortgage, then you still don't own it. And on and on and on. All the things that we have that we think of as being ours, including many of us our iPhones or even right down to something like that. A lot of people just don't even own anything. And that's a lot of the reason it's a lot of the reason on a street level in terms of you and I, schmuck, Joe Schmuck, Boobus Americanus or Boobus Canadianus or whatever, Joe Sixpack or Sally Housewife or whoever. It's a lot of the reason why we're in the mess that we're in, folks, because we don't own anything. People don't think they have to earn what they have. I guess they just think that out the chute, the world owes them something, and that's pretty much it. And, that doesn't really line up very well with common sense. It certainly doesn't line up with anything that, reading whichever book you choose, whatever. I always wonder, I was just thinking about, say, the Old Testament, the New Testament, for example. I've often wondered, what the heck ever happened to the Middle Testament? That's I bet you that would make for some good reading. But in any case, that's a whole topic for another day. You pick up the Old Testament, for example, and you read that. Some people think it's some kind of religious book or something. It's not a religious book at all, not even in the slightest. You want to talk about religion and faith and belief and philosophy and all these things, then you're better off going and looking at something like evolution, which just science itself, the basic premises of science, simply being able to prove something, it should stand the test of some scrutiny, is the point. Science being just knowledge, and if something is deemed to be scientific, then it's supposed to be knowable, not believable, not probable, not possible, but knowable. It's something that you can say because you can take it and you can test it. You can take it into the laboratory, test it, and it'll bear out. And of course, evolution doesn't do that. Now, I may be shocking some of you. You may be thinking, "What do you mean? What are you talking about? Evolution is science." I mean, you can't get any more scientific than Darwin and his theory of human evolution, or, well, not even human, the Darwinian evolutionary theory. Well, for starters, let's look at, let's be factual here about things. They themselves are calling it a theory. I don't know when the word theory meant fact. If my theory is that, I don't know, there are probably a lot of people in Times Square right now. Just because I think New York's, a very densely populated city, and chances are there's a lot of people in Times Square. Well, that's my theory, and there's, I'm going on something because, New York is indeed a couple of people living there somewhere, I think, and they tend to bustle around here and there. But in reality, comparatively speaking, we could probably just bring up a webcam right now and see that at this particular point in time, Times Square is a ghost town. So my theory was that, well, Times Square must be just a hustling and a bustling up there in that big old fancy New York City, A lot of them Yankees running around there. I don't mean the New York Yankees. Well, not the ball club anyway. But my theory could just very well just bear out to not hold any water whatsoever, and in fact there's nobody in Times Square right now other than, some guy sweeping off the sidewalk or something. So that's the difference between theory and fact, and the difference between science and religion. I think I've touched on this before, this whole notion, but it seems that a lot of things are kind of turned upside down, kind of in an Orwellian sort of 1984 double speak, double think kind of fashion, where religion is science and science is religion and all these kinds of things. War is peace and peace is war, and prosperity is depression and recession. Depression is recession, and everything's just angular and upside down. But the whole idea of this evolutionary thing, I've been listening to recently from a website, georgegordon.org, GeorgeGordon, georgegordon.org. He's reviewing a book, and the name of which is Dead Men's Secrets. Just trying to remember the author's name there. Jonathan... What's his name? I don't recall. But anyway, the book is available through teachservices.com. TEACHSERVICES, just as it sounds. Teachservices.com. Dead Men's Secrets. And what this book, quite frankly, it's perhaps the most astounding book that you would ever read in your life, because we're taught a lot about who we are and where we came from. We're taught that way back when we were all kind of like apes and dragging our knuckles on the ground and grabbing our women by the hair and dragging them off in the caves and things like that. And certainly we didn't have any technology of any kind, the things that we take for granted even now, like every single day. Rubber balls and elastic bands and paper clips and shoes with laces and purses and neckties, hats, scissors, shaving, razors, all these kinds of things. Even things like that we may take for granted, everyday items. You don't picture cavemen, and when I say cavemen, I mean that's what they called them. They called them cavemen. It also bears out. It bears out that these people had razors, and toothbrushes and combs, and hats and belts and buckles and boots and shoes, and tight-fitting pants and multicolored shirts and. I mean, how do you have multicolored shirts? When you look at, say, the people, the settlers, in the American settlers, people in the colonies with spinning wheels and so on, it would be the best they could do to make a white shirt, that kind of thing. You get a bit of material and you need to do whatever with that. Should cavemen be wearing, embroidered, multicolored shirts? This doesn't sound like what we've been taught. Many other things too, metals and metallurgy, the whole concept of mixing different metals together to make various things. That's not supposed to be anything. Well, for example, there's examples of metallurgy from thousands of years ago when Columbus, in the days of Columbus, they were making cannons in sand. They just didn't have the metallurgy that we have today. But you can see examples of this, and this is all, hard evidence. This isn't just some guy's supposition. These are the archaeological artifacts. These are things that have been found, and examples of all kinds of ancient technology, right through to electricity, to air travel, to, well, I don't want to blow too much of it or make it sound too extraordinary, but quite frankly, if you were to pick up this book and read it for yourself, I think you'd be quite astounded. At the very least, here's the thing. At the very least, what if it's all just fantasy, whatever? Then it would make for an interesting read at the very least. But this is not fantasy. This is fact. This is archaeological finds all over the world that basically very clearly illustrate that the story we're told about Columbus discovering America and everyone before that, during then, and even after then, thought that the Earth was flat, that we've never known that the Earth orbited the sun, that we didn't know anything about the planets, that we never had any technology before, that the light was never invented until the 1800s. All these things. It's all. None of it's true. The truth of us and who we are and our history and where we came from is not that we came from apes and we're getting smarter and smarter and bigger and better over time. We're actually part of the entropy of creation. The entropy of the universe. The fact that everything is breaking down. So when they dig down, for example, these archaeological sites, when you dig down deeper, you go back in time further. Things, the newer stuff piles up on top of the older stuff. That's pretty well commonly known, I think. You probably know that, and you're probably no smarter than me. You're probably, you could be maybe half as dumb as me and still know that. And why is it that consistently all around the world, the further down they dig, they find more advanced pottery, more advanced artwork? The tools are more advanced. The artifacts that they find showing the societies and their art and their culture and this and that and whatever. When they dig down further, it becomes more advanced. That is totally counter to evolution. The evolution, the story of evolution, and Columbus discovered America. I have talked about this before. Columbus discovering America. Can you imagine for yourself going and discovering something? For one thing, there were already people there. So somebody discovered it before. So somebody might say, yeah, but what? What they're saying is the people who were there were insignificant. They were subhuman, and it doesn't matter. And they only staggered over some land bridge, between Siberia and Alaska or something like that. These were, savages, however you want to think of that. And Columbus was the first person representing the civilized world, or Europe, I guess is what that means. Well, no, that's not true either. It's well established, that Columbus wasn't even the first European to discover North America. In any case, I didn't want to get sidetracked. My whole point here, though, is that the story that we've all been told, we've been told a great, big, huge pack of fat, whopping lies. That's just the case. Whether we like it or not, that is the case. So the whole truth about technology, in terms of what technology is available right now, what technology do you and I know about, and what technology is there in the world that's not made available to people yet? That's very common knowledge as well. That, let's say, for example, and let's not get kooky about this. Let's just, be very level-headed here. let's say, we have research and development, various companies and various inventors and creative people, clever people. They've got things, on their workbench right now. And we've got working models of things in various laboratories and so on. We might not know about it yet. It might not hit us for another 15 or 20 years. But it does exist. These things actually do exist. Just haven't, permeated the ubiquity of the common folk yet. We don't have that particular doodad in our hands quite yet. But it doesn't mean that it's a crazy notion that things exist right now technologically that the average person doesn't know about. In fact, I doubt that the average person right now knows very much about the technology that's even currently available to us. I mean, most of us are just schmucks, like me or you or whoever, going to and from our jobs or doing our Republic of Avalon radio thing or, recording CDs, stuff like that, called Revolution Time, available at jimfidler.com, and things like that, We're, just doing our thing, dragging our feet along, doing whatever. There plenty of I can tell you that they're right in this room I'm in here right now. We have all kinds of things that I know how to do certain things with. Like I have this keyboard here, I can I can hit the keys on the top, but if I take if I were to take this apart and start working, and I'm not a total idiot in terms of electronics and things like that. I grew up with electronics. Certain levels of electronics and certain types of electronics. The stuff I was dealing with was more resistors and capacitors and circuit boards and things like that. Not so much the kind of things that you see now where everything is very small and scrunched in and impossible to work on, or darn near impossible. And just due to a total lack of eyesight, the idea of poking at these things isn't practical anyway. So I leave that in other people's hands, other more capable hands than mine. And let's face it, how much is in you listening right now? Just look around you. Your environment right now, how much of that technology, how technologically advanced would you call yourself? You can turn on your iPhone, you can flick a light switch, you can do all these things, but if a flood came and washed all that away tomorrow, how much of that could you reproduce? If you got, your home got swept away and the government, broke down, and just some great calamity, a comet hit the earth, or huge global economic collapse, or just anything happens, natural or man-made or whatever, and you find yourself in the woods or in the desert or whatever, just trying to get by. Could you create electricity? Could you create artificial light? Could you light without using animal fat and some kind of a vine for a wick or something like that? You'd be pretty much thrown into survival mode, and you'd be just doing the best you could day to day to try to not starve to death and not freeze to death and things like that. And there's plenty of evidence to indicate that this has happened in the past, that we've undergone calamities, whatever these calamities are. Certainly, like the big flood would be probably the biggie. Maybe a comet hitting the Yucatan Peninsula might be another one. What about even the idea of ancient prehistoric nuclear war? That's a fantastic sort of idea to consider. But the whole idea that civilized people, out of necessity, get thrown into survival mode, so they remember, at least for a while, they remember, they have a remnant of the memory of previous technology, Take all these guys, we were talking about Times Square earlier, all these guys, let's just, in our minds right now, let's just take all of those people bustling around in Times Square and let's put a kind of throw a net over them and rake them in. And now let's do like the Survivor show, or Survival, I guess. Is it called Survivor or Survival? I don't even know. See, we don't even have a television. We don't bother with these things. But you take all these people and you put them in a survival situation. And I wonder, them and their children and their grandchildren, I wonder how long it would take for them to forget about a lot of things, a lot of technology, and how quickly mythological these things would become. The old ones in the before time, the old ones had fire, had bulbs as of the sun and the stars. They had pearls as of the sun and the stars that lit their, what would they call their houses? Lit their tree palaces or something like that. Even the lexicon, you lose the ability to describe these things. How do you describe, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, if you were to pick up some ancient scripture or some ancient document, I'll avoid the word scripture here because what does scripture mean? It comes from schreiben. It means to write. So scripture means something written down. Again, it doesn't have anything to do with anything religious. It doesn't mean scripture is religion. In fact, as I said before, if you want to just go pick up an Old Testament somewhere, it is not a religious book. That's the whole thing. I know people think of it that way, but that's just because that's what they've been told. That's what they've been taught. And again, what is religion? That's a whole other topic for a whole other day, and I won't go there now. My simple point is that we've been taught a lot of things that just aren't so about who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. And what our general nature is as human beings, even human beings. You go look up, I forget which, it could be the Oxford Dictionary. I don't remember. Anyway, you could probably find this in a search quite easily. Quite recently in our history, like within the last sort of 100 years or so, one could go and look up in an English dictionary the definition of human, and cited under the word human was the word monster. So the people writing these definitions have very interesting ideas of people. And what we're taught in school about Columbus discovering America, and what we're taught to think about the people in Iraq, and the people, basically out around the pictures you see, and people out in the desert, like Stone Age people out in the desert, when in fact at the time that Iraq was invaded, many aspects of Iraqi society, secular society I might add, secular Iraqi society, which was a lot to do with why Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein were, not keen on each other. So the idea that they were buddies was absolutely ludicrous. I mean, anybody who knew anything would know that that's just so counter to reality. That's like making God and the devil pals. It just doesn't work out. But society at the time when Iraq was invaded was, in comparison to America in a lot of ways, grade point averages and the road systems, the highways and byways and road systems, the number of women working in important positions, legal positions, and as judges and surgeons and all these kinds of things. The proportion is what I'm saying. The standard of education, the standard of health, the standard of roads, the standard of all these things. It wasn't at all a very civilized, advanced, evolved nation going and invading some bunch of, Stone Age people starving to death in a desert at all. But then again, many people don't know that, and there was a false picture of that painted. And people say that the victors write the history books. Well, I'd like to meet this guy Victor sometime, because I can't really see I can't really see all these wars being won. Maybe it's just me, but I don't remember the big celebration. I was alive and breathing at the time. I don't remember the bells ringing out and the banners flying when the Vietnam War was won. I still haven't seen that with Iraq. I haven't, the same old thing. No big party, no big announcement, no big, Obama. Osama. No, what's his name again? Barack Obama. If that's in fact his name, which seems to be quite likely that it isn't. That's another idea to consider. But anyway, I don't see him with a party hat on, blowing the whistle, saying we're calling all the troops back. I think a lot of people were under the opinion, or at least somehow they got the idea. Even though it's not in his voting, it's not in any of his policies or nothing. But a lot of people had the idea because they had been just so totally dissatisfied with, George W. Bush or whatever, that when Obama, yeah, that's it. I swear to God, people, I still have trouble. I go to say Osama or Obama, I mix the two up. They're just close to each other. The word, the two words are too alike. I mix them up. I think a lot of people were under the false impression that when he got in, it was, Dorothy was going to get back to Kansas or something like that. But as we know, the guy is still behind the curtain, and everything just presses on. But anyway, this book, Dead Men's Secrets, what's the guy's name? Anyway, I'll put a link up on the website. We'll put a link. Lillian will put a link up. I say I. At least I don't speak in the royal we. That's a good thing. Lillian will put a link up on the website in the show notes. So at the main website, republicofavalonradio.com, you can go there, and we can put a link through to. There'll be a link through to George Gordon if you want to go and listen to these shows I'm talking about. These series. It's a lecture series, whatever you want to call it. Very straightforward kind of guy, George Gordon, and a fellow that I have an awful lot of respect for and have for a long, long time. And he's just reading from this book. He's basically doing a review of this book, and he's darn well taking his time. He did it in an hour a day. His show that he does is an hour a day, and he does it 7 days a week. So he actually did 2 reviews of this book. I guess he figured it was merited. He's now, I don't know, 70, 71, something like that. And in all his years, never before, he'd heard about various things, about archaeological finds and startling, fascinating, interesting archaeological finds. As I have, one over here, another one way over there, whatever the case. But this book puts them all together. There's almost 1,000 of them in this book. Book's about, about 373 pages. I think it is 373 pages. So nice little book. Whatever. It's probably $20 or less at Amazon.com or whatever. And it's called Dead Men's Secrets. But as I said, we'll put a link up so you can hear George Gordon talk about it in more detail and read parts of the book itself. Or you can just go buy it and just read the darn thing, which I would say would not be a bad idea. I've perused it, and I've heard George Gordon talking about it and reading bits out of it, and I guarantee you, just the bits that he's read alone are enough to certainly motivate one toward going and clicking on something on Amazon.com, for example, and just getting this darn thing sent to you so you can read it. Very, very interesting stuff. And things aren't as we're told. The whole world around us and the way it's portrayed to us, the way everything is painted around us, the way we're painted to ourselves and so on is just not the case. Basically, I think it was Mark Twain said, that there's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. Well, there you have it. We're surrounded by all of that. And of course, you and I are but statistics ourselves, which is a lie again. But as I said before, that's another topic for another day. In any case, as I said, go to republicofavalonradio.com, and the links are right there. The show notes are there. And the book is available, I think, at Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble, and you can find it through, I think the publisher, as I said, is teachservices.com, Teach, Teach Services, just as it sounds.com. Jonathan Gray is the name of the author, and the book is called Dead Men's Secrets. And if you want to hear a bit about it, you can go to georgegordon.org and check that out for yourself. It could very well be the most fascinating book that you've ever read in all of your life that will change the way you think about the universe, about human beings and the earth and history and technology and everything as we know it. It could very well be that book for you. So if you're afraid, if you don't want maybe to lose, if you feel like you want to cling on to Mickey Mouse and Hollywood and all these things, I can't take any responsibility. If you go read this book, don't trouble me, put it that way. But some people think ignorance is bliss, and that's fine too. That's quite okay. We will not trouble them people whatsoever. Yes. So, I guess I'll wrap up here just by telling you that in this episode, we're going to have a little segment coming up here. We're going to cook for you. It's going to be the Jim and Lillian cooking show. We're going to plank some salmon for you on an outdoor grill, on our new outdoor grill. And we're going to tell you everything you need to do to replicate what we do. So if you're thinking you're kind of tired of what you've been eating lately, same old, whatever it is, beef, fish, chicken, whatever, and you might like to throw a little something different onto your palate, well, this is something for you. And the whole idea of planking is an interesting thing as well. And wow, is it yummy. The whole idea of barbecuing, we use this term barbecuing, and most people, what we're doing is we're not barbecuing, we're outdoor grilling. And barbecuing is a whole different process. But what planking does is kind of take the two and unite them. By cooking on, say, cedar plank, for example. You soak the cedar plank, and then you put it on your outdoor grill, turn it up, get the heat going first, and then put the plank on. Within a few minutes, it'll start to kind of crackle and make some loud cracking noises and start to smolder, at which time you turn it down and you put your food right on the plank, and the plank acts as good protection for the food, so it's not going to burn up and things like that. But it actually flavors, it cooks the food, and it infuses it full of all kinds of yummy, juicy flavor. So, for example, with the salmon, you get that really nice, the smoke from the cedar plank. You know what it's like. You know what it smells like in a sauna. That's the thing. That's cedar, and you just get this salmon. It's a very simple recipe. Anybody can do it. If we can do it, you can do it. There's a marinade, and then the preparation is very easy as well, and you can have your salmon and eat it too. Indeed. Last call for submissions for the Roar birthday. As I speak right now, it is the day before the 5th anniversary of the Roar. But as we are heading out of town, I'm going out to the Trails, Tales, and Tunes festival out in Norris Point. And so we're going to be out of town for days and days. doing a lot of ham radio and playing a lot of music. I have several shows scheduled out there, several performances that I'm going to be doing. And Jano, what else I'm on? Get up to, you know. Plenty things going on. So we're going to be out of town for days and days. And when we come back, we will set to the task of putting together some sort of little acknowledgement of 5 years of doing this thing here called Republic of Avalon Radio. And so if you've been with us for a while and you've there's a little warm spot in your heart somewhere for all the 5 years of people and places and music and things that we've done, places we've taken you and so on, then please consider sending in some sort of a little shout out, a little birthday something for the Roar. And if you're new and you've just come on board and you're excited about this new little thing you found, then I'll same thing, same motivation. Just send us in your little greeting of some sort, whatever it is you want to do. You know, you can send us $1,000 if you want, or you can go to the website and put $1,000 on the PayPal. You can put $20 on there. You can put nothing on there. You can, what I'm saying is you can go to the website, click, and just send us a Skype message saying happy birthday to the Roar. It's not a huge backbreaking effort. One at the same time, as I said before, statistically, it seems to bear out that very few are going to engage in any way. 3% or something. So let's see if we can make that 4% in this case, or 5%. If you're the one person who says, no, I'll just let everybody else do it, I can tell you that we haven't heard from very many people lately at all, and that big everybody else that you're waiting to do this isn't leaping forward. They're not beating our doors down. And I think it would be kind of sad after 5 years to just say, well, screw it, we won't even do a 5th year birthday show or whatever. And I guarantee you I'll put you together a good show, a good 5th anniversary show. But if there's no interest there, don't just depend on everybody else to do it. Make the call, do the thing. You'll love yourself all that much more, and we'll love you all that much more if you do so. And as I say all the time anyway, we just love to hear from you. So there you have it. The only other business, I suppose, is do go to our website, republicofavalonradio.com. There is a PayPal button there that you can donate whatever you would like to us. We don't have any kind of a subscription thing going there. It's all free. Everything you're listening to here is free. But it does take time. It does take effort and bandwidth. We have to pay for bandwidth and equipment and all these things. So we do appreciate you. You have no idea when we come come down in the morning, put on the coffee and have a look, and oh my God, look, somebody has dropped something in our tip jar. Just absolutely makes our day. And just recently the website was down for a while, for 10 days or something, basically because there was nothing in the tip jar. It just ran out. There was nothing there. And so the Roar went south. And then anyway, I think you all understand well that people are trying to feed themselves, and you have to feed yourself and all these things. And if you were producing something like this and it takes up your time and you've got to buy equipment and maintain equipment and back things up on hard drives and upload things to the internets and just all that bandwidth and the storage space online and all that stuff, it's time and effort and money and all that stuff, and there's no sort of there's no paycheck in this for us, so it's listener supported, and you are the listeners, and any support we get from you, any support whatsoever, is absolutely greatly appreciated. So there you have it. Let's move on to and thanks in advance, by the way, before we move on. It's not an uncomfortable. I used to be very uncomfortable about that whole topic from the get-go. But at the same time, I've had, just even as recently as within the last week, an offer. I won't mention the company. A sponsorship offer. And I just I brushed it off. I don't want to be slinging ads at you guys. Unless it's something that might be useful to you. And if the information were brief and we could say, okay, well, this is going to help sustain the thing. But ideally, what I would really rather do is just, I'm not going on the record saying that we will never have any sponsorship whatsoever. So don't ever down the road say I'm a hypocrite or a liar. I'm saying we have fought tooth and nail for 5 years, and to this day, we have zero sponsorship. We are totally 100% listener supported, and we'd like to keep it that way. So a big thank you in advance. And let's roll on with the rest of the roar. Let's go to myself and Lillian and our preparations. And by the way, you might want to grab a pen and a piece of paper, or as some people say, a paper and a piece of pen. Or I hear people mess that one up quite often. It's not that difficult, folks. A pen and a piece of paper. How about a pencil and a piece of paper? Then if you make a mistake, you can just turn the pencil around and rub it out. Unless you have one of those super duper magic pen type things that you can rub things out and then go, it becomes invisible and you go put it in the freezer and pull it out and you can see all the stuff again, whatever. These things exist. I don't know anything about them though. You might want to grab a pencil and a piece of paper, or a pen and a piece of paper, and take the notes, because we give you everything you need to know in order to make this very, very yummy dish that we will prepare for you. So, pen, paper, action! You're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio.
This is Newfoundland's first podcast. You're with the roar.
Hi, this is Eddie Grant, and you're listening to the Republic of Avalon Radio. Take your time.
Republic of Avalon Radio.
Radio for lazy people who don't want to do nothing.
You're with the roar!
Just to keep track, in batting practice, there's that cage. They pop balls up, they hit ground balls, they hit balls hard that are at somebody during the games.
All right, well, greetings all. This is a little segment that we're putting together just to share some yummies with you. I got the ball game on there in the background. The Pirates, of course. And it's not a bad evening here. It's about 60, just under 60 degrees, just under 15 degrees Celsius. And it's raining at the moment, but that's not deterring us whatsoever. We will barbecue. That's just the way it is. We just got a new barbecue. What is it again? What's the name of it? Centros. Do you remember which Centros? 2900S. The Centros 2900S. It's really, really nice. Nice big barbecue, all stainless steel, side burner. Three burners?
3 burners, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, triple burner, and then the side burner. So there we have it. And we put that together, and we have it out back in our whatever you want to call that, patio or deck. Or it's not a deck in the sense of like a wooden veranda built onto the side of a house or whatever. It's actually, what would you call them, like flagstones? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
What I don't know, what are they, those out there, what are they? They're big square.
Well, they're concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just big, like
Big
2
squares.
feet by 2 feet.
Yeah.
Concrete blocks.
Yeah, and last year we built a privacy fence around it with lattice and all that stuff. So it's shaping up to be a very nice little sort of outdoor room for us when the weather's warm, for the summer months and all that. Mm-hmm. And with the new barbecue out there, we've got a table and chairs out there as well. One thing we're looking at maybe doing very soon, possibly even like this week, we're going to get a cover for the barbecue, but I'm thinking about getting a cover for the deck too.
Yeah.
A tarp of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Lillian knows somebody who works making sails and so on. So not as in a sales man,
No.
making sails.
Sails for boats.
Sails for boats. So
He does awnings, all kinds of awnings for businesses.
Yeah, so I think we're going to check with him and see if there's some really good, affordable, yet very sturdy, good thing we can do, so we can have a retractable cover, a retractable roof over our deck, which would mean that we could go out there anytime, even if it's raining. If it's cold and damp and rainy, then there's not much point. But if it's warm and it's just just happens to be raining, or we're sitting out and it's a nice night and it just starts to spit a bit, we just go over and pull the roof out.
Yeah, it makes it more like a room, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like an enclosed area.
Yeah. So what we're doing now, we're going to share with you some yummies. We're going to reveal a couple of our little secrets here that we don't generally reveal. So this is going to be, we're going to be making, we're barbecuing salmon. It's Atlantic salmon, and it's barbecuing, of course, is a bit of a misnomer, because what most of us do really isn't barbecuing, it's outdoor grilling. There is a difference if you go and look it up, go whatever your search engine is, go check it out, and you will see that they're two totally different processes, and not really very many people actually barbecue, but for some reason they just call it anything cooking outdoors, people just call it a barbecue. But anyway, what we're doing is, it's outdoor grilling, but we're doing something, here's this little secret for you guys. If you want barbecue flavor, if you want that real barbecue taste, that flavor, that smoky barbecue flavor with an outdoor grill, there is a way of doing it, and it's simply known as planking. And planking is, well, what's that, you may ask? It is just what it may sound like. It's using planks, like wooden pieces of wood, pieces of wood, such as, say, apple wood or hickory or mesquite, or in this case, tonight for the salmon, we're using cedar plank. And you can get this like at any old supermarket, pretty much, you go to. They have them just for this purpose, and they're not expensive at all. And what you do is you soak the plank overnight is best, or for a few hours, whatever. You just want that plank to be nice and wet, nice and moist, so that it doesn't flare up and catch on fire on the barbecue or on the outdoor grill. So yeah, we're soaking the plank there now and getting that ready. What you do is you actually cook the food on the plank. We had steak last night. And how was it?
It was out of this world. I think it was probably the best steak I've ever had.
Well, maybe possibly even for the first time in your life, you actually had the real taste of barbecue.
Yeah.
And not just outdoor grill.
Yeah, there was an actual taste.
Yeah.
On the steak from the cedar plank.
Yeah.
And it was, it just added like dimensions.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. It definitely is amazing. And if you've never done it, if you enjoy, what you call barbecuing, which is outdoor grilling, 99 chances out of 100. If you enjoy throwing a few burgers or steaks or pork chops or chicken or whatever on the grill outside throughout the summer, if you enjoy doing that and you have never ever planked, boy, I'll tell you, just go to your supermarket and tell them you're looking for planks for barbecuing. And there's various kinds. For the salmon, cedar. Cedar is very, very good for salmon. For the steak last night, it was really good. I would have preferred maybe hickory for the steak, I think. For ribs, you might use hickory or mesquite or apple wood, whatever your preference might be. What it does, quite simply, is the smoke from the wood. The wood basically starts to char on the bottom and smoke a bit, and it's that smoke from that wood and the flavor of the wood that gets into the meat. And that's the whole concept of barbecuing in the first place. Barbecuing is really kind of a smoking process, a long, slow smoking process. Grilling is just heat, it's like basically it's just heat. And then you get the little added bit of outdoors and you put barbecue sauce on it. Well, as a lot of people know, you can just jam something in the oven, you put some ribs in the oven and put some sauce on it, and the only thing you're really missing is the outdoors, and that does flavor the food. Cooking food outdoors does have an influence, but Soriano just hit a home run, and the Cubs and the Pirates are tied 1-1. All right, yes. So anyway, what was I saying there?
You were talking about the planks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can cook food, in the oven or whatever. You can have like a winter barbecue. You just take something and do it in the oven and put some barbecue sauce on it or something. Not the same as outdoor grilling, as you know. But then if you take that extra little step and go to the supermarket and get some plank, like I said, cedar is good for salmon. But depending on the supermarket and all that stuff, depending on where you go, you can get, as I said, mesquite or apple wood or hickory or I think cherry wood, whatever, depending on whatever you're doing. So I tend to think mesquite for chicken. There's something about that just in my gut. My gut tells me that I think chicken plank with mesquite. And pork, you can go either which way you want, really, I think. You can go, if we were doing just like pork butt or something like that, I think I might go with like either an apple wood or even the cedar. For ribs, I think I'd go somewhere. I'd probably go with the hickory myself. And steak, it's a tough call. I might go with the hickory with the steak as well. And something like pork chops, well, maybe the apple wood, whatever. But I mean, that's all sort of a personal preference thing. There are certain properties, certain flavors and tastes, blending and mixing and all that sort of stuff, sweetnesses and bitternesses and things like that actually, do make one type better for the particular type of meat you're cooking and all that. But anyway, tonight, as I said, we've got the cedar plank soaking right now and the salmon. So Lillian's just about to make the marinade for the salmon, and it's easy peasy. And I'll tell you, this is a delicious thing. Whether you consider yourself to be much of a chef or not. If you just follow what we're doing here, you will be a very happy camper. Yes, no?
Indeed. Yes, no. Are we ready?
We are ready. Okay. So the ingredients for this marinade are quite simple. We've got, you squeeze the juice of 1 lemon, you squeeze the juice of 1 lime, and squeeze the juice of 1 orange. Now, in this case, we're having a warm spinach salad and some garlic shallot potatoes, cream potatoes, with the salmon. So because we're having the warm spinach salad, there's mandarin oranges in that. So here we were with a tin of mandarin oranges and a whole lot of juice left over. So instead of squeezing an orange, we're going to squeeze a lemon, squeeze a lime, and use the juice from the mandarin orange. And what else goes in there? So the juice of one lemon, the juice of one lime, and the juice of one orange.
Olive oil and salt and pepper.
Okay, a bit of olive oil. How much?
About a half cup.
Half a cup of olive oil.
And some garlic.
And you said some, what else?
Salt and pepper.
Salt and fresh ground black pepper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to taste, obviously.
And a clove of garlic.
Just for someone who might not have any idea how much. Like, this might be a real beginner person, doesn't cook very much, and they wouldn't know the difference between a peck of salt and a tablespoon. How much salt?
Oh, salt about probably
Quarter of a teaspoon?
Quarter.
Third of a teaspoon.
Sure.
Okay, and the pepper would probably work out to about half a teaspoon?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what was the last thing you mentioned again?
A clove of garlic.
And a clove of garlic. Put through a press or something. Not just the bulb of garlic, the little tingy, but and not even just chopped up or whatever. You want it mush. It has to be mushed.
Yes. Yeah. So I have the salmon here, and the piece of salmon we have for just the two of us is.
By the way, can we double that at 2 cloves of garlic?
Sure.
Yeah.
I got one huge clove, actually.
Oh, well, that's fine
then.
Fine. Okay.
So.
What were you just going to say? Sorry.
I have a salmon fillet, and just for 2 of us, it's the piece that I have is about 8 inches long.
Okay.
So the fillet has skin on one side, so it's like the side of a salmon.
Yes.
And
the skin is quite tough. The skin.
So this is something we learned from Rockin' Ronnie.
Yes.
The barbecue expert.
Yeah.
So what we do before we put it in the marinade is I cut it kind of horizontally across into portions down as far as the skin.
Not through the skin, but just down to the skin.
Down to the skin, because what will happen then when it's done, it'll be very easy to just take the individual portions instead of having to cut it and it flakes apart and it falls apart. So.
Each portion will just come right out really nicely.
Yeah, so.
It's very nice.
It's very nice. It's a very nice, really nice tip, actually.
Yeah. So the main thing, though, is choose the best and sharpest knife you have for that job.
Yeah. I just did it then, actually, with a sharp knife.
Okay.
So now I've got a shallow dish, like a baking dish, and I'm going to just mix all the ingredients into there. So I'm pouring in the olive oil.
All right.
Half a cup of olive oil.
Mm-hmm. Look.
And I'm cutting the lemon.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you get like mulch and pulp and everything in there.
More mulch and pulp, the better.
I'm just squeezing it with my hand.
Just squeezing the juice out of the lemon. Let's hear this.
Over this way a bit.
Okay.
Here we go. It's the lemon going into the shallow baking dish.
Can you just smell that lemon now? Are your eyes watering?
Now I'm cutting the lime.
Okay. And you're going to squeeze the lime.
Squeeze the lime into the dish, which is harder because it's smaller.
Okay.
Oops. There's 1/2, and
I can smell the lime juice.
I love lime.
Me too. I used to we used to have this soda pop, locally made, called, the company was called Keep Cool. It's funny because I actually met the nephew of the person who gave it the name. I think they must have had a contest or something. People wrote in and looking for the name, and this person that I was talking to down at the pub there a couple of weeks ago, his aunt won the contest, and her name she came up with was Keep Cool. So they had Keep Cool Orange and Keep Cool Lime, and there might have been a Keep Cool Pineapple, I think. But the Keep Cool Lime, that was the best.
Now I'm pouring in the mandarin orange juice.
Now she's pouring in the equivalent of squeezing an orange.
Yeah.
Only we had the orange juice already on hand, so we're not going to squeeze an orange.
Here goes the garlic.
Okay.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Okay. And you put that through a press?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I just gotta wipe my hands.
She's going to wipe her hands now. And
Hands are all lemony.
yeah, I think you might want to actually run the water over them. Not just dry them with a paper towel, because that's very acidic, very
Okay, now
citrus.
I am going to put in some pepper.
Okay. Here comes the ground pepper.
I mean salt, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Salt.
The salt.
And I don't know. I don't really measure things. I just kind of, because I'm so used to salt and pepper and
Yeah.
amounts and stuff, so I just
Yeah.
did the thing. Now here comes the pepper.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just going to stir it all around.
Yeah, she's going to stir it up, little darling.
Stir it up.
And
Okay, and now I'm
now you're going to pour that over the salmon, right?
Actually, what I'm going to do is put the salmon down face first into this, so the skin is up.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go, folks.
There it is. So now we just put that in the refrigerator.
Cover that.
Cover it and put
it in the fridge for about an hour.
Yeah. You don't want to do it any longer than that
No.
because it's very acidy. So.
Yeah. Very acidic. The the juice from the lemon, the lime, and especially the lemon and the lime, and the orange, but mostly the lemon and then the lime, I guess. So, yeah, anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to up to about an hour. Anywhere in that range, depending on how much time you have. You know, I mean, if you have time constraints and you can only put it in the oven in the fridge for 15 or 20 minutes, that's fine. That'll be fine. It's just the longer it's in there, the more flavor. It also tenderizes the salmon, the juice, the lemon juice, the sort of acid from the lemon and the lime and the orange. It's going to flavor, but it's also going to tenderize. And that's what a marinade is for. You know, the main purpose of a marinade really isn't so much, well, it's flavor, but the main purpose of marinating is tenderizing, without having to, pound something with a mallet or anything like that. That's the main thing about marinating. So it's tenderizing and flavoring. But I would put it in that order.
Sure. Yeah.
Because a lot of times you might want to marinate something, but you might not want to flavor it as much. It might be more about tenderizing.
Yeah, and really you don't want to overpower the taste
the
of the salmon.
You don't want to lose the flavor of the salmon.
Yeah,
no, that's right.
It is. I mean, it has such a wonderful, distinct taste.
Yeah. So this will work with any old, the best salmon you can get. The freshest salmon that you can get your hands on, Pacific or Atlantic. We would recommend Atlantic just for our preference. I think any time I've ever seen any kind of comparison taste tests, like blind taste test, get a bunch of blind people tasting salmon. No. When people don't know which one's which and they're just tasting it, Atlantic salmon tends to win hands down over Pacific salmon.
I think so too.
Now, I'd say, it depends. There's different, for different occasions and different situations. The Pacific salmon might be might have its advantages, but I would say Pacific salmon in a case like this actually this would be a good candidate for Pacific salmon, because Atlantic salmon tends to be more flavorful than Pacific salmon. So, that's a matter of taste. Whatever salmon, whatever that taste is, it's more subtle on Pacific salmon. So if you have some people have more sensitive palates than others, you may find Pacific salmon is just enough of that salmon flavor for you. So personal preference. But where this is being marinated and planked on the outdoor grill, the Pacific salmon would do the job fine. So whatever kind of salmon. In fact, it doesn't even have to be salmon. You could do this recipe. You could do this with trout.
Yeah, for sure.
You could do this with trout. You could probably do it with flying fish.
Yeah, halibut or something.
Halibut. I wouldn't say cod.
No.
But anything of that consistency, like salmon, salmon or trout.
It's very, what do you say? It's not, the cod is really flaky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas salmon is almost like steak or something.
That's right. Anything like that, or if you had fresh tuna,
yeah.
you could do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. That's the first little segment, and what will the next segment be?
The next segment will probably be barbecuing the salmon.
Okay, well, let's tell him about this. My warm spinach salad first.
Oh, he's got an excellent. Gee whiz! I can't wait for this meal.
we've got some spinach, and it's just a simple little thing. What you do is you just dice up some onion, slice some mushrooms. So just again, for purposes of someone who might not know anything about amounts and so on, how much spinach do you have?
Well, I just took a medium-sized bowl and just filled it with spinach. And this is for two of us, and when you warm it up, it tends to
lose a little bit of its
it's
shrinks a bit.
Exactly. So I usually, if there's two of you and you think that a spinach salad is just a small amount
on the side,
build it up a bit.
You're not going to fill up on it.
Yeah, build it up a bit because it's all going to shrink when you heat it.
Yeah, what's famous for that? Hamburger when you're making hamburgers, you always make the patties. Let's say you want them to end up about the size of a hamburger bun, so make your patties bigger on the diameter than the hamburger bun, and then when they're done, they'll just be just right. Because if you make them the size of the hamburger bun and then you fry them, they end up coming out like silver dollars. So the same goes for the spinach. So we got a bowl of spinach, half an onion diced.
Yeah.
Probably half dozen mushrooms.
Yeah.
Sliced,
yeah.
And
mandarin oranges.
Mandarin oranges, a small tin of mandarin oranges. And what you do first is you just mix all that stuff up, wash everything off, clean everything off, make sure all that's good. Then put it all together in some sort of a container and cover it. Could be even a bowl and put a plate over top, or a bit of
That's what I did.
bit of saran wrap or something like that.
Yeah.
Bit of cling wrap or whatever they call it. And put it in the fridge. So that can be for around the same amount of time as you're actually, marinating the salmon for that hour, say, for example. You can just leave. It just gets the onion and the mandarin oranges and the spinach and the mushrooms. It just gets it all acquainted. It's kind of a marinating thing in a way.
It is, yeah. It's hi, how you doing?
Yeah.
Howdy.
Yeah, but it's a kind of this is a sort of a marinating for flavor.
Yeah.
For blending flavors instead of throwing all the ingredients together as strangers and then chomping them down right away, so that when you're eating spinach, or when you're eating the mushroom is very plain, whatever. This just gives a little chance. So anyway, you do that, and when you're all ready to go with that, you just take that out and just warm it up lightly. You could just do that, say, in a microwave.
I do. I find you get really good results actually in an iron frying pan.
Yeah.
With a bit of oil on the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, that's much better. Yes.
And the texture is really nice.
If you've got an iron frying pan, if you don't have an iron frying pan, get one. But if you have one, bit of oil, and what sort of temperature? About medium?
Medium, yeah. And it doesn't take very long before it starts to wilt.
You don't want it to go soft and soggy. That's the thing. So throw all the ingredients in together into the pan. Just dump it out of your bowl or your container into the pan after you heat up the oil. And just kind of move it around a little bit. Let it sit there for about a minute or so. Make sure, like I said, you preheat the pan so the oil's nice and hot. Flick it in, give it about a minute, and then stir it around a little bit and give it about another minute. And that should do it, hey?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. And then you take that out and just put that one side. Go about your business with the other stuff that we're going to be doing. But this is almost like the last thing you do. We'll you'll see as we're doing it. And then we've made a little. We're going to make a little thing for the salmon, a little garnish, a little ting for the salmon, whose ingredients are pretty simple.
Yep.
Bit of Miracle Whip. How much? Doesn't matter.
No, it's for your...
Well, actually, yeah.
Like a little sauce for
Yeah, so what are you... how much are you going to use?
I'm going to use a heaping...
Half a cup?
Not that much. I'd say a quarter of a cup.
Quarter of a cup of Miracle Whip, or mayonnaise, whatever.
And...
we use Miracle Whip.
Then you put in a bit of chili... Chinese chili sauce, it says. Well, we have...
Chinese chili sauce. We have Thai.
Yeah.
Sweet Thai chili sauce.
Chili sauce, yep. Okay, so I'm just going to...
And what else?
Mix a bit of that in there and some sesame oil.
And a bit of sesame. How much is a bit?
Well, I just put in about a teaspoon of the Thai chili sauce.
Okay.
I think that's plenty.
Teaspoon of Thai chili sauce.
And I'm going to put in about the same as a teaspoon of the sesame oil.
Okay. All right. So there we have it. Now what you're going to do with that, what we're going to do with that afterward is when we take up the salmon, you're just going to brush that, gently brush that on the salmon, right?
Yeah, it's just like a wee sauce.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be heated or anything. It's just
No.
And I also just put the potatoes on. So we're also having garlic mashed potatoes.
Yes, garlic mashed potatoes with shallots. So we'll tell you all about that coming up.
I'm the lady of shallots.
She's the lily of shallot. All right. Okay, so that's the other little bit. So you all go away and mix up that stuff there now and come back and we'll carry on with the next bit. Over. Alrighty, here we go. This is the preliminary phase in the preparation. This is the placement of the plank onto the grill, which the lovely Miss Lily will do. Here she goes with the plank. I'm just leaning out the back door here. She's opening up the opening the lid on the grill. On goes the plank.
And we just leave it on high for...
Yeah, and just close the lid. And give it about 3 minutes. It'll start to crackle. Once you kind of hear a bit of crackling going on with the plank, and visually you'll see it kind of starting to sort of char a little bit, then you'll know it's ready. Then what you... well... Huh?
It smells like a sauna.
It smells like a sauna, yep, because it's a cedar plank. And that's the smell you will get from the cedar plank. And as I mentioned, cedar and salmon are a very good thing. So, yeah, like I said, 3 minutes for that. Then, then the next bit. So let's just go forward to the next bit here. Okay, so this is the next phase. We've got the plank is crackling. Correct? Uh-huh. And now you're turning the burners down on medium. Okay. And you put the salmon on the plank? And close the lid. All right. So the salmon is now on the plank. The plank is on the grill. And she's all turned down to medium. We put it on we put it on high to preheat the grill. We got it up to just under 500 degrees, and then we put on the plank. It was about 450, I think. I think she goes up to about 500, but 450 was plenty just to get the plank ready. And now we're gonna huh?
Spinach now, I guess.
Yeah, you could. But that's really like the last thing. I'd say do the shallots next, yeah. So what we've got are, how many shallots we got going here? How many potatoes?
2.
2 potatoes?
2 big potatoes.
Two big potatoes, okay. So usually, general rule of thumb, for potatoes. These are cream potatoes. General rule of thumb, the potato rule is 1 per person and 1 for the pot. So that's a good rule of thumb. Unless you get into a whole bunch of people, then I suppose that would change. But if you're dealing with, 2 to 8 people, yeah, one per person and 1 for the pot. That's a good rule. So in this case, we're using 2 potatoes, 2 large potatoes, and are they boiling yet?
They're done actually.
Okay, they're done. Yeah, you boil them for about 20 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. So you boil the potatoes for about 20 minutes, and we're going to cream them with some butter, some milk, some salt, and some pepper. Correct?
Yes.
And how much butter and how much milk?
About the size of an egg, butter,
Okay.
and I don't know, probably 3 tablespoons of milk.
Okay.
And a bit of pepper.
A little
and
bit
of salt.
A little bit of pepper and a little bit of salt. And then you're going to mash that really well. You really do want to mash that. Now, what growing up, what we always did with those potatoes was we used a mix master, and that would give you really, really nice creamed potatoes. But you tend to just mash them manually.
Yeah, and I kind of go around.
Why don't you use the mix master? Because it's so quick and it does such a good job.
Sometimes I do.
Why don't you do that for this evening, especially where we're having these shallots, and you don't want any lumps of boiled potato at all.
I can do that.
Okay. So I would recommend, using a mix master. Now, is a mix master a brand or something?
No, it's just like a mixer for cakes. And
Yeah, exactly, with the 2 little metal things that go round and round, You knows what I'm talking about, folks. So, you just put the ingredients in the bowl, your egg-sized piece of butter, and please don't use margarine. Butter is this is important for the taste and everything. And anyone concerned that butter's bad for you and margarine's good for you, I think if you do a little more research, you'll probably discover something to the contrary.
yeah, I'm about to put the shallots.
But anyway, you don't have to eat this 5 times a day. What the heck? So now we've got an iron frying pan with just a bit of oil in the bottom, just enough to sort of, grease the bottom a little bit. And you've got how many shallots?
2.
2 shallots, finely chopped.
Yeah.
And she's just gonna flick them into the pan there now. You get it up on about a medium high actually. And what we're going to do is just sort of cook these shallots. I'm just spreading them out here a little bit. Yeah, you just kind of want to brown them a little bit and let them caramelize a little bit. Very finely chopped. And then we're going to do something very cool with those, actually. Can you hear those shallots just shallotting along there? Yes, indeed. Okay. Oh yeah, we want them up. We wanted them higher than that. Yeah, about there. There we go. Yeah, because we don't want to saute them. We just want to like. In fact, when they went in, it sounded too gentle. The sound that we should have heard when those went in should have been more like that.
Okay.
But they just kind of went.
Yeah.
Very. Yeah, that's important because that shocks them. It sears them and it causes them to keep their juices. And they brown. So it's almost like searing in a way. Otherwise, the onions just. The juice just comes right out of the onions, and that's not what we want for this. Because what we're doing with these shallots is as soon as they start to brown a bit here now, we're going to add a finely chopped clove of garlic in with the shallots. And then just put that, give that a couple of minutes, and then put that one side. And then when we mix our potatoes, when we mash up our potatoes with our butter and milk and salt and pepper, we're going to then add the shallots and the garlic and mix that right through the potatoes. That's the idea of that. Huh? Yeah, move, yeah, that's good. Move them around. Almost sort of like you're almost kind of doing a stir fry thing with them to a certain degree. But you do want that heat, and this should not take long at all. In fact, they're looking, to me already, yeah, you can add the garlic. I can smell them, yeah. Very good. And for those who might not exactly know what shallots are, they're a type of onion.
They're green onion.
Green onion.
They grow very well in, like if you wanted to start a garden, that would be one of the things that would grow, no problem.
Uh-huh.
Very low maintenance, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So the garlic is in there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you want to stir that around a little bit? Now it's starting to make the noise that I wanted it to make. Just getting there now. And I can tell by the smell too. Smell is a very good thing when cooking.
They're done or they're going to get too much.
Okay, they want to be brown.
Really brown.
Good. So I'll just turn them like down to just like, what would you call that?
Minimum.
Yeah? Okay, so it's right down on the absolute minimum. Just keep them moving around a little bit while they're, while the pan's cooling down. And I lied, we're not using an iron frying pan. So this will cool down quite quickly. Okay, it seems to be simmering down good.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't look like they're going to overdo.
No, I think they're okay.
Okay. Good. Now, don't be afraid of seeing brown. You just don't want to see black.
Okay.
I can smell them. They don't smell burnt to me.
Okay.
But you do want that, lots of that brown, because that's flavor, and that's exactly what we want. We want this is for the potatoes. So now I'd say probably the thing to do. When was the timing for the salmon started?
We're into it about 7 minutes.
Okay, so about 8 more minutes left for the salmon. So let's cream our potatoes. She's going to get out the mix master and just whip those potatoes up. As soon as the potatoes are all creamed, then she's going to add the shallots and garlic, and now we're going to do the spinach salad. We've got that. You got that all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're just going to flick that into a pan. Which pan are we going to flick it into? The iron frying pan. A little bit of oil, just a small bit of oil. And is the pan heated up yet?
No, it's just heating now.
Okay, let me monitor this.
It's over here, actually. Right there.
Okay. Okay, it's getting nice and hot pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah.
Iron frying pans are the way to go, folks. You want iron frying pan. It's a very good thing. Alrighty. They were just saying the count Terrio is up at bat, so if it's like 2 balls and 1 strike on Terrio. Fascinating. There's an Ontario, California.
Yeah.
And there's a Newfoundland, Pennsylvania. Did you know that?
And yes, I did. I get a lot of times when I'm doing a search for Newfoundland, I'll get results from, Newfoundland, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm. Could you speak up a little bit for the folks?
Sure.
Because you're speaking in as lilified a manner as you possibly can.
Okay.
See, generally speaking, as you all know, folks, she has a very sort of gentle sort of demeanor. And sometimes this means that we've got to, as much as we like this gentle demeanor, we do have to ask her to get her to speak up from time to time, especially if we're around a lot of loud music and things like that. But anyway, yeah, from across the room here, I'm close to the machine, close to the mics here, so you can hear me fine. But if she's 8 feet away and whispering into her,
okay, I
whatever.
think that's probably ready.
Spinach salad is ready.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Putting it in.
So, the pan is ready.
Yeah.
Okay. So in goes the spinach salad, and then we're going to turn that down on medium.
Mm-hmm.
You just had the pan turned up just to warm up, I guess.
Yep.
So now it's down on medium, and the spinach salad is in there. And like I said, this will probably only take about two minutes, hey?
Yeah, I think.
You want to warm it up. You don't want to cook it. You don't want to. You don't want to cook the onions. You don't want to cook the mushrooms. It's just you're basically just warming it up. All right, it's 1-0 for the Bucks, and our yummies are ready. I'm just tasting this.
Not an actual winner. The Pennsylvania Lottery.
Raspberry lemonade.
Pennsylvanians every day.
It's delicious, isn't it? We have it in frosted glasses. There's a little bit of ice in mine. Wow.
Ain't mine too. How did that happen? It's magic. Let's try the potatoes first.
Okay.
My dedication extends off the field. I want to give back more than they give me.
How's that?
Oh, nice. Very nice garlic taste on there too.
And the salads.
Very tasty.
See what I mean about browning the onions? Browning the salads? Okay.
Wow.
What do we try next?
About the salad?
Okay. Let's taste the spinach salad.
It's a nice texture.
Well,
Yum.
Tim, so far so good. Charlie, very impressive, very efficient in the top of the first, and the car's some action. We're going to get up on the board first.
We haven't hit a piece of mushroom yet.
Last night, and we're on our way. Let's hope Charlie has something to do.
Oh, there's a piece of mushroom.
Nice work in first.
Yum, folks.
Cubs cleanup man Marlon Burton deals a strike.
And the salmon is sitting on top of the salad. So.
All right, shall we try the salmon now?
Yes.
Both of us?
Okay.
Better than 314. Yes, it is. 5 homers and 19 runs batted in. The 0-1 pitch.
Oh my.
Oh, wow.
Andy LaRoche gloves and throws on the run. He's got third, 1 down. You know what? Just to get it on the record, Tim.
What do you think of that?
Morton is one of those guys.
That is
when he does it,
wow.
get it together, and we're expecting him to.
And the texture of it, it's not drawn out or anything?
No.
That kind of stuff, as he did in the shutout against the Cubs. He has been
No, the plank really protects it.
He knows it more than anybody.
Be careful, I just got a little bone.
It
Did
doesn't
you?
surprise you. It's just, and that's one of the reasons they like
Oh, wow.
with Charlie Morton. He's
Wow.
The taste of the cedar. You can taste the cedar. And I would say it's subtle, but it's not. It's very, very noticeable.
And there are quickly 2 away in the Cubs' second. Well, what you want
Wow.
Charlie to do is get out in front in the count, because then it takes a lot of the options away.
I love the
Opposing
texture
hitters.
because
they can't take chances. When
every
they're
time
ahead,
I've ever
they're
tried
gonna be able to take pitches
salmon
to the
on
borderline.
barbecue before,
When he's ahead,
Yeah.
they can't
it
take
always
those
ends up
pitches.
kind of
And that's a
dry on the
big
outside
Yeah.
pitches in front.
and
He can be very, very good.
sometimes not quite cooked on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Take strike 1. Ramirez
This
hitting
is
only
perfect.
139.
It is.
Love strike 1.
All right. Well, bon appetit,
Especially
and
the guy with really good stuff.
we hope you all
Strike 2.
enjoyed this little time with us preparing our yummies. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, just get in touch with us. Go to our website at republicofavallonradio.com. So I think, we pretty much got everything in there, though. Everything you need to know should be there, but in case we miss something, feel free to get in touch with us. And if you try this, we'd love to hear from you and hear how it tasted. And maybe try it out, record it, and try it out for us, and let us hear your yumming when you're tasting it.
Wow. This is so good.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to go eat now, and let's go Bucks.
Bye.
And we'll catch you guys next time.